Please be advised that this video is for the sole purpose of entertainment. Any views are purely my own, are subjective, and may not necessarily be true. All photos have been found on the public domain, and I am using them under the fair use and fair dealing guidelines. I urge everybody to do their own research. Well, hello, it's Murky Meg here. It's Sunday the 1st of September, and I've got two very interesting news stories that hit late last night. It seems that the hapless two may accelerate plans to leave Britain. First of all, I didn't think they had any plans to leave Britain, but they have apparently snubbed Prince Charles's plan for them to take on an estate in Hertfordshire. Charlie Boy had earmarked for Harry as part of a long-standing scheme by the Prince of Wales to help his son create a country estate for his family near the Welsh borders. But his second son, which is Harry, has so far shown no interest in making the move, raising fears among friends that the couple may be preparing to head abroad. And we all know where they're going to go, with LA high on the list of possibilities. Another news source confirmed that they could be looking at a Malibu house to buy. It's claimed that plans may have been fast-forwarded following the recent media fallout because of all the negative press they've received. And one source has said that they've already had secret LA visits because she's homesick and wants to go back to America. What a surprise. All this lady has ever wanted was fame and fortune, and now she finds that the UK is so unpleasant to live in, she wants to take her newfound fame and fortune back to LA, running away from the troubles they create. Remember this, your troubles will follow you wherever you go. It's your character that needs to change, not the area that you live in. It's just a pity that they didn't make this decision before they spent an obscene amount of money, taxpayers' money I might add, on their Froggy Cottage refurbishment. It's my belief that by moving to LA or that area, Meghan will totally cut Harry off from his family and his former life, making him absolutely emotionally dependent on him, which is a common narcissistic trait. Will she move back to the UK if he gets homesick, I wonder? This next bit really made me think. Apparently, friends say Meghan and Harry are in victim mode and do not feel they need to change their actions, but rather change the people around them and possibly even the country they call home. Hold on a minute. Victim mode. This entire mess was their own doing. Were they forced to take a private jet on the back of their preaching to others about stopping the clock on climate change? And let's focus on the change people around them, not their action. So off to LA, where celebrities talk about environmental and humanitarian change for the peasants, but not for themselves. Seriously, off to LA, where they think there is no accountability from the public and the Queen more like. It's absolutely shocking that this could even be plausible. She's made zero effort to get to know Britain or the British public, nor did she ever show any sense of humility. I guess she just expected to be adored because she married Harry. Doesn't work like that, I'm afraid. It's funny because a lot of people predicted this would happen before they were even married. I never really thought it would happen though, because it just seems so far-fetched and unlikely to happen because Harry can't move countries and still keep his title and live off the taxpayers. I do wonder what William and Kate think about all of this. They're remaining completely composed at the moment. It does make you think, though, that if they do forfeit their allowances from both the taxpayers and dear old Daddy Charlie, Harry is no better than those lazy trust fund children who think the world owes them a favour and it's their right to do whatever they damn well please. Wise up, the pair of you, because it's a vicious world out there when you haven't got Daddy's cash or even Granny's cash to fall back on. So I did a little bit of digging round. I've been looking at houses in the LA area, assuming she'd want to upgrade from Frogmore Cottage, which now has 10 bedrooms. After the refurbishment, then the house will need to have roughly the same size or bigger. Now, granted, I know nothing about real estate in the US. The average 7-bed house, not many are for sale with more than those bedrooms, unless you're going to pay absolutely ridiculous, silly money. In Malibu, it seems to be the average is around $10 to $15 million. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Hidden Hills and Calabasas are actually cheaper than Malibu, I think. Please don't shoot the messenger. I really know nothing about this. I just had a quick look and I found it very fascinating. Before she got married, Meghan's approximate net worth was around 3.8 million or $4.6 million. Prince Harry's net worth was estimated to be around £30 million. That equates to roughly around about $36 million. So that's a combined wealth roughly of just short of £34 million, which equates to around about $41 million, or however you say it. It's just too confusing, to be perfectly honest. Doesn't leave much to live on when they've bought the house, and they are known for their very extravagant lifestyle and past spending. A nice house in LA will cost Harry a huge part of his inheritance, and the rest won't last long with the lifestyle that they have been living. But the charity that they've set up, now that makes sense. It's all coming together, isn't it? The charity is the key. The thing that really does tick me off, though, is the fact that they've already used a humongous chunk of money paid for by the taxpayers for their wedding and their renovations of their cottage. If they cut ties with the UK, does this mean they will lose their entitlement to the tax-funded luxury that they are getting? Do you know what? If they want independence, give it to them. But make sure that means they also become financially independent, giving up any assets that should remain within the Crown and benefit the people of the UK. However, it's a very interesting fact that it's the Queen that determines whether or not Harry remains to hold his titles. Even if Harry took the American oath of citizenship, which requires you to renounce all other alliances, that oath is not binding on the Queen, and she could continue to consider him one of the British citizens too, should she so desire it. So technically, members of the royal family could in theory live quietly outside the UK if they don't embarrass the family and cause ripples. However, I don't think this could be an option because it would cause a humongous outcry within Britain, I think. And the site Crazy Days and Nights, which is a blind site, have a look if you don't know about it. It's really, really good. They've been saying for months how these two have been shopping for houses in LA, looking around the 10 million mark. They've been planning to move to LA for months. They were simply looking for an excuse to play the victim and leave. I do wonder whether initially they'll move to America or possibly they'll live between there and here. But I think maybe very soon they won't be living in the same location at the same time, citing work commitments. And after a while, it will probably be announced that she's staying in America and he's staying in Britain. But I don't think that the damage can be repairable. And I think Harry's reputation will be damaged forever. I'm not quite sure about that yet. Whatever happens, if they divorce, I don't know whether Harry will then be able to come back into the fold and still retain the reputation that he used to have prior to Meghan. What do you think? Do you think that there's a possibility after a divorce that he would be accepted back into the fold? This all seems strikingly similar to another royal couple many years ago who were also royal and an American divorcee. When that prince's choice fell on twice divorced American Mrs. Wallis Simpson, problems arose. The prince had to decide between Mrs. Simpson and the crown, which passed to him in 1936. In the event, Edward VIII became the only British sovereign to resign the throne of his own will. He abdicated on the 10th of December 1936 and left the country to marry Mrs. Simpson. Even though he abdicated and left the country, he was made Duke of Windsor and lived abroad, maintaining friendly, if not distant, links with his royal family until his death in 1972. It was said that Wallis was a calculating social climber who managed to claim the title of Duchess. In a book about Wallis Simpson by Andrew Morton, he says that she would have preferred to have been Queen. This desire drove her to pursue Edward in the first place, forging a relationship that appeared rich and romantic to onlookers, but was fraught with deception and opportunism. Queen Mary, Edward's mother, believed that her son was under some kind of spell that would in time be broken, but she never got to be queen. Edward's brother, George VI, assumed the throne, and his daughter, Queen Elizabeth, followed and still reigns. Edward and Wallis became the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, as I've said before. For 2 years, Wallis and Edward lived in France until the start of the Second World War. Soon after, the Duke was installed as governor of the Bahamas. Following the war, they returned to France, not permitted to ever live in England. Wallis, incensed that she would never be queen, kept up appearances pretending to cherish the smitten Edward when she really loved somebody else. For many years, she was drawn to the married American and dear friend Herman Rogers, and 2 days before she married Edward, she even offered to have Herman's baby. It was a huge scandal at the time with Wallis and Edward, and could history be repeating itself? Could the ghost of Wallis Simpson, who's actually buried at Frogmore House, be rising again to do a little bit of mischief damage? It's all very interesting, isn't it? But do you think it's true that they are going to America, that they're fleeing Britain, or do you think it's a play from her PR team to stir up some sympathy and play that ever so heavy victim card yet again? I'm going to end on a bit of a sad note. It seems that Thomas Markle Sr. has been in the newspapers again, saying he doesn't know why he's not allowed to see Archie, and he's been silent since the child arrived, but he's now frustrated that he doesn't get to see his grandchild. My heart breaks for this man. Yes, he's no saint. He's done things wrong. But isn't Meghan always harping on about be kind, have some kindness? Once again, she needs to take her own advice and practice what she preaches. She can't put up all these woke quotes on her Instagram account and not take her own advice. Meghan, be kind, please. Well, that's my rant for the day. What do you think? Do you agree with me, or am I talking absolute rubbish? As for me, do you know what? I'm off down the pub. Thank you very much for watching. If you've liked this video, please hit that like button, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell, and I will see you very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.